Hey everyone, it's Alexis from So Sweet Monogramming and So Sweet Academy. I just wanted to do a video and tell you about some of my embroidery essentials, embroidery favorites, mainly the things that I can't start almost any project without. So first on the list, I have my needles and my pins. So my pins are going to be just little pins. These are cute ones. They have they look like buttons on the back of them. They're fairly cheap, and rightfully so, because you will lose a lot of these along your journey, or you can have these with little ball on the back of it. Either one is fine. I prefer these because they lay flat. As far as your needles, I use organ needles. Mainly I use the 7511 on both my multi-needle and my single needle embroidery machine. So yeah, these are a really great brand to have and to try out. Also, if you need something to hold your pins when you are not using them, this magnetic holder is great. You can get it online, you can get it at Harbor Freight, anything like that. I will be linking all of this stuff there for you so that you can order it if you don't have access to a store close by. I love this because it is magnetic, and if you drop any of your pins on the floor, you can just run this across the floor and pick them all up really, really easily. Next on my list, I have stabilizer. I have tearaway and I have cutaway. All right, I'll tell you about each one of them. The tearaway is just that name because you can tear it. You can tear it away from your project when you're done, and it is best for things that don't have stretch. I use it a lot for hats. I use it a lot for bags, totes, anything like that. Also, you have your cutaway stabilizer. This would be used for any knit, any stretch type item, anything. You may have heard the saying, if you wear it, don't tear it. So that means you want to use the cutaway stabilizer behind it to hold it in place. Also, there are a lot of other ones. There are things like the sticky stabilizer. That is where you peel off the piece of paper and it sticks to it. Actually, this is the box for it. I don't have it right by it, but it's the stick and tear. Okay, stabilizer by Pellon. Next up, there are tweezers. I love, love, love my tweezers, y'all. So these are like the little needle point tweezers. They are great for getting into small places. For once I snip my threads, or once I need to pull up some water-soluble stabilizer, I pull out my tweezers, and that helps me a lot along the way. Also, I use spray adhesive. I use the Dritz brand. There are a lot of other brands that you could use, but Dritz, it works very well for me. You spray it on the back of you spray it on your stabilizer, and you put your project on top of it, and it holds it into place. Be careful not to spray it close to your machine because you don't want to gunk up any of your machine surfaces. Next, we have a seam ripper. Okay, this is pretty important. This is pretty fancy. Okay, this is my favorite one. You know what you do with a seam ripper. Okay, obviously you know. This one is double-sided. It has two different size gauges on there. So we have the seam ripper. Next, I like to use the water-soluble pen. This is what I use to mark a lot of my placements. There's a purple side, which is air and water soluble, and then there's the blue side, which is just water soluble. I use the purple side more often because sometimes the blue side doesn't want to come out as easily. Next, we have embroidery thread. All right, there are a ton of embroidery thread options out there. I use embroidery thread like Sim thread, Bro thread, Isocord, Exquisite, Madeira, I use a ton of different threads. All right, sulky from time to time, but I would have to say my favorite would probably be Sim thread, Bro thread, or Madeira. I use that the most. Bobbins. Next up, we have bobbins. So these are pre-wound. I prefer pre-wound bobbins because then I can, I just know that they're wound tightly. Sometimes when I try to do it myself, it is not as tightly wound. This one is the A size, or the size A for your single needle, like your PE 800, and this one is the Fieldtech magnetic, so it's a magnetic side on there. And the best thing about this, I don't think I have one, but you can use it all the way down to that the inner portion. You use every strand of thread on there, and it goes all the way to the end. Next, we have our USB for embroidery files. All right, I save them straight onto here. This is how I store mine. Mine is a 3 gig. I don't go any higher than that because our machines are little processing systems and we don't want to overwhelm it. Some machines you can go straight from your machine to your from your embroidery machine to your computer using your cord. But if that's not the case, like the PE800, you have to have some type of USB to load your files on. And that brings me next to files, embroidery files. You can get a lot of your embroidery files online. I prefer Etsy a lot of times because it's just really easy and fast to search them and find them and download them. And then from there, I can find my favorite embroidery sites and then shop them on their personal sites from there. Next, we have scissors. I love my scissors. I use the most my duckbill scissors. This is great for applique. Also, I use my snips. These are really good for getting into tight spots. Okay. As a matter of fact, I use my snips in combination with my tweezers to snip little threads really closely. Okay. Your embroidery machine that you will use, I use the PR655. There's the PR670. Also the Brother PE800. Those are very good machines. I use Brother brand, so that's why I mentioned all of those, but they're all very good starter brands to start to work with to get your projects done. I mean, they stitch out very well. I love them. Next up, we have a couple of things that I will call honorable mentions because you don't have to have them, but I love them. I still use them. Snag Nabbit, okay? Snag Nabbit. I have a couple of videos that I use the Snag Nabbit with in my group. It's so sweet to learn. And I show how you do that. Let's see. And I show how you use that serrated edge to pull the loops through. Okay, so Snag Nabbit. If you don't know what it is, just get it. And I'm telling you, when you need it, it'll be there. Next, we have the Target stickers. They're the dime Target stickers. So they come rolled up in there like that. They're great for placement, okay? Perfect for placement, and you get your perfect placement every time. Before I found out about these and I ordered them, I had no clue that I would love them so much and use them so much. But you can see that it has the, it's like a little target area right there in the middle of it. And it shows you exactly where your center is going to be. You mark your center, put the sticker down, and boom, you have your area. Next, I like to use, and I actually have it sitting right here on my lap right now. I didn't use this initially for embroidery, but I ran across it at my mom's house and I fell in love because then it gives me a surface. Mine is it's a little dingy because I use it for everything that's from spray adhesive. But it's a quilter's cut and press. I use it as a little lap table. The back of it is soft if I need to do any ironing or anything from an applique on my lap, or this if I needed a surface to cut. And I just wind up putting it on my lap. Sometimes if I have a project right here, I've hooped it right here on my lap and I didn't have to get up and go to my workspace because usually my workspace is packed with everything. I also love to use my water soluble stabilizer. This is great for towels or plush objects. You just put it right down on top. This goes on top of your project, okay? And it helps to make your stitches just pop up on top of plush surfaces like towels or any, like a robe or anything. And this one is the same exact concept. It's just a little thicker. I use this a lot on my straw hats to help the stitches from going down in the ridges and getting stuck in there. Okay, also last but not least, very important, we have my Pretty Perfect planner. All right, this was created by me. It is a great tool. Listen, let me tell you why this is a great tool. My handwriting isn't the best, but I write in here often, and I tell myself what I need for different projects. So let's just go through it on this first page. I have my title, the date that I did the project up top there, my hoop size, my stitch time, stabilizer type, font name, so that's whatever I save it as, if I have it saved in logos or if it's just the font that I purchased it from, my stitch count, my dimension size, my fabric type, this one was a poly dry knit polo, my difficulty level to remind me how difficult the project was, any of my supplies. I know I used my Hoop Tech clamps, I used my Brother PR655 machine, and I also put a water soluble topper on top. My thread colors here, this is very important. If nothing else, this is important because when I'm doing someone's logo, I may not remember exactly what thread colors are in their brand. So it told me that I used my Floriani, Exquisite, Sulky, and then my Clarkson Coats. And then the order details, I did 9 company polos for the bakery. I used 2 layers of stabilizer because it was a thin shirt, and then I usually put in there who it was digitized by if I need them to go back and do some edits to it, because I have had that to happen. And then on the other side, I write any notes about it. All right, so let's see what notes I wrote. This one required 7 color changes on a 6 needle machine. This was a fun stitch out. And then I just told myself that it was a dense design and I had to slow the machine down because it buckled a little bit. This was things that you want to know before you stitch it out for a second time if they come back as a return customer, because you don't want to do that trial and error that you did the first time. And then the bottom part, sketch it out. You can sketch out your design. I stitch better than I draw. Keep that in mind. And then if you want to use this as a business tool in the back, so there's a bunch of pages for that. I have a bunch of pages in there. That's for your designs and for your embroidery projects. Also in the back, we got to make some goals, okay? You got to have a goal. You have to have plans. So I have a thing for you to do SMART goals. You know, you're specific, you're measurable, you're attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Then we have some spots on the back for your quarterly goals. Then I break it down more into income goals. This one, I have it actually written down in my other one that I use in a notebook, but this area, I have each month for your goals set aside there. I have some monthly review. So now this goes, it breaks down another month and you can expand and elaborate on your month. What's your profit, your loss, your numbers? What was your most profitable product? What was your least profitable product? You want to keep that in mind for the next year. All right, then we do our year in review. After we've wrapped up every month, we have the year in review. You got to fill all that in to let you know what you did for the whole month, the whole year, and then you know how to plan for the next year. Then we have notes, okay? You go into your notes, inventory tracker, and then have an area for more notes. You can't have enough for notes. And I have a cute little quote. Life is a journey of a million stitches. Don't you just love that? So those are all my major essentials, all of my favorites, all the things I can't do my projects without. So I hope that helps you, and I hope you're able to get started, make some beautiful creations. Be sure to tag me in anything that you make. Feel free to join my group, It's So Sweet to Learn. I go live every Sunday at 5:00 p.m. Eastern time for a stitch out and just for a good time, because we cut up, we have fun. We've done a lot of random projects, and be sure to just say hey, pop in, and let me know if you need help with anything. All right, talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.